Hello, welcome back to Stars in the Dark. This is season 4, episode 5, episode 36 total. We have the whole gang here.
Yeah.
That's not been the case for a while. We've had some various absences. That's cool. We're also in the middle of a job. But before we get to that, I want to first bring up the wishes from last time. We didn't have a lot. There was a renewed wish to see the space donut shop, and I've actually done research on donuts in Star Wars. And donuts exist in Star Wars, and they're called donuts. Yeah, I've done a thing. So I've prepared for that. There was also, Rich pointed out that Tycho will lean into his attune action. So we'll get to see some action with that. That will be cool. Otherwise, we just have the old wishes. I don't know if the list is updated. I think we have some. Yeah, I think find out more about PC backstories can be relevant a bit, especially with Tycho, who's the one who's most of a mystery at this point, I think. We've seen a little bit about Fritz's family and that sort of thing, and we've learned at least a little bit about Val, but there's definitely more to dig into. Well, yeah, I think that's mostly the ones that I see on the list that's mostly relevant right now. Yeah, I figure we should let Val do a couple of downtime activities before we get into the job.
Okay.
But I think we should also let Kai know kind of what the situation is. So I think if you could, each of you, give a little bit of a recap about what's happened with your characters, your character or characters over the last couple of sessions, or just the recent past. We get kind of an update. I'll go in the order on my screen, which means Rich is first.
Hello, Rich, he, him. Edema finally got out. Took her a while. She kept doing things and fighting people and taking names and kicking veritable shebs. She left with her mom, and I assume, like in my head canon, went with Val. Val flew them to the surface, so that was cool. It means Val was the last one to see Edema before she officially left the game. I've been playing Tycho, aka Baron, and that the first full session was last session, and I realized there were a few things I needed to add to him, so that was good and educational. And yeah, he's mostly just kind of, he's just mostly like followed along. Bade has been our new boss, and he's relied on Tritzy and Bade's skill sets to get things done, as he's there to make snide comments occasionally. I think that's boringly about it for Tycho so far.
Thank you. Steven is next.
Hi, Steven, he, him. So Bade has kind of grown up a little bit, taken a little bit more charge, still is, sneaky and, thievery kind of stuff as, needed, but also like, this is what we've got to do to get the job done. I think some of that hardness that's coming from Bade now is because she's seeing people start to leave. Like, people are going to jail, and, Etima's, off to find herself and that kind of stuff, and leaving the rest of us behind, and someone's got to do it. So one of the jobs that we did was to help out the rebels, and we got I'm forgetting their names, but the rebels that we were helping before, we got them to leave. She was too intent on killing Imperials
Maxa,
and Maxa. And basically we kind of talked them into leaving and, you know, going out with the rebels somewhere else so that Tor, I believe, could take over.
Becker.
Becker, thank you, Becker.
Yeah, because one of the things that's been going on kind of in the background is that the rebels have started to take over like on the higher levels of Coruscant, which means that that's like 4,000 levels away. So it's not really here. But there are things are happening. Yeah, so Maxa and Thierry left. They left together with Etema and her mother, even if they weren't going to the same place, but they were. They left at the same time. Yeah, so Becker has taken over the Free Rebels, and he's working more closely with Tor than Maxa, because Maxa and Tor were always butting heads. Cool. Mark.
Yeah, Tritzy has been helping out. She's been doing a lot of non-combat related stuff, which has been fun. Getting connections hooked up, both socially and technically, getting in touch with the rebels upstairs, and getting into a little bit of trouble with her noble connections. Last time she had to go to a wedding, and her brother got kicked out of the family because of her, basically. And so she was like, come on, brother, who's just some rich kid, hang out with the criminals in the warehouse we just took over. So that's going to be a good time. I don't know if you were there when we did the hook up the gang fight thing with each other and went to smash up one of the was it the Golden Eagles clubs and blame it on the gladiators. And yeah, she jumped out in the middle of a firefight and immediately regretted it and ran away. So that's been a good time there.
This was the gladiators, right? The Colosseum.
Yeah, the gladiators got wiped out last time by as retribution, I think.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
The crew attacked the Emerald Eagles, but they were disguised as gladiators. So the Emerald Eagles went after the gladiators and just crashed. So the gladiators are gone. Yeah, and Boko got attacked.
Yeah, Boko got jumped by Frugo's gang in prison. So that's a good time. He just barely got out alive, pretty much.
Fruvo never forgets.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah, Vruvo has an actual gang now. He's on 1313 as the Shadow Horns. I haven't added a note. I should do that. And they hang out in the French.
Well, I think Bria is going to be really upset that Maxa and her sister have left, because she's in prison for life, and they get the choice to just leave. Like, Bria never would have taken that choice, but she's still very oh, she's such a weird character.
Yeah, I'm not sure Bria knows they've left yet.
Yeah.
That happened. It happened quite recently, and yeah, I don't think you have like continuous communications with people who are in the cube. But yeah, cool. So the current job, the crew was contacted by Lon, who is a noble from House Gilash, They are like the traditionalists. They're very entrenched in the bureaucracy, and he wanted negotiation, or he was sent to arrange negotiations with the rebels, because he had been informed that the hidden daggers were in touch with the rebels, and he wanted to set up basically a security in exchange for a smooth transition of management when that time comes, so that his house members would not be persecuted as imperial stooges when the Imperials finally get kicked out. And the crew jumped on this and didn't give him an opportunity to like. They said, yeah, we can go right now, and well, he couldn't say no. So where we're going to start is with the crew, or whatever crew members we have a defined starting position, will be in a crawler, an Imperial crawler that Lan requisitioned, because they do have contacts in the Imperial bureaucracy. That's on the way to the Bend, which is an area that was damaged in the event that created the Rend, but wasn't like fully collapsed. So it's damaged. Services there are not very good, which means it's a bit like 1313, more than like 1314 in general. It's very crime ridden. The Black Suns are the biggest players there, but there's also let me see. I think it's the Spanners, who are tier 3 crew. They are also they're like only in the band, so they have conflict with Black Sun there, but it's not like a hot. It's not like a gang war currently. It's just they're rivals there. And the engagement role puts you in a desperate position, which is always fun. Means lots of XP, but that's how it goes. So what I want to do is give
have we done have we done any actions since like we got that desperate role?
No, that was the last thing we did last session.
Okay, all right. So I have an ability if we want to use it. On a failed engagement roll, a 1 to 3.
Oh, right.
I can spend a stress to do a flashback in which I tell the rest of the crew that it's the stupidest idea I've heard. Switch to a different plan with a different detail, and then that will be a 4 to 5. You don't roll at that point. Desperate position equals XP. But if you don't want to be desperate for this, we can automatically change it, but we have to change how we're going to do it.
I like your special ability, and I don't want it to go to waste. So I will do the thing.
I will not be upset if we don't get to use it. XP is cool too.
Yeah, but I do like XP too, but that is a cool ability.
Either way, Val gets has an opportunity to do 2 downtime activities before we get going. So you could take training, or you could do something else if you want to set up the job more. I don't think you need to reduce heat. I think you're good there on both 1313 and 1314. Yeah.
And of course, if you wanted to, you could set up your alternate plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll think about. Let me do my actions, and then we can officially like rewind or not rewind.
Sure. So you
Did
don't
we
need to reduce heat.
Yeah.
I don't think
Did
you
we-
need to recover, right?
I have 3 stress. If we do this special ability, I'll have 4 stress.
Yeah,
which I-
but you do your activities before you do the stress. Before
yes,
you do your
yes,
special.
yes.
But you don't have any injuries you need healed. So basically, you could indulge vice. And I think, yeah, if you don't indulge vice, you'll get stressed because you have a trauma.
Right.
Um,
But then I just knocked myself out for 2 weeks, and I'm still not there. So let's start with stress relief. And it ties in. I wanted to know where we are on the pod racing. Have we got that mechanic on board yet?
No, he is still, I think I put that up as a job. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
an
sorry.
entire job.
He's, I think you've finished recruiting him, right?
Oh, okay.
Or is that, sorry, I think that's a clock. Is that a clock on your, no? I'm not sure, actually. I'm trying to find if we had a clock for him somewhere, but I can't find it. And I think you finished recruiting him, but we haven't added him to, or have we added him to the crew? No? Haven't added him, then I think we're not done with that. So one thing you could do is work on a long-term project to finish getting him on board.
Okay, so I'm heading to go gamble anyway. And I guess at this point, he's seen the way that Bade, is it Bade? See, yeah. It was Bade that did the impressive pod or driving, right? The one that the mechanic. Okay, so they've had time to think. They've seen some impressive work. They know that we have noble connections. So I'm going to roll consort and try to convince him to join the group. So since I plan on rolling vice anyway, I'll take a stress to give myself a second die, 2 stress to give myself a second die. And
question is, can you get a friend or contact to help you? Because that gives you 1 more die.
Outside of the crew.
It could theoretically be someone in the crew, I think.
Well, I mean, there's my rival. She works there, Lustin. But I don't know if she would help. That's the only person I have there at this point. Yeah, I'll just stick with the 2 dice and see if we can't. Any idea where the clock is in your head?
No, I think it was very close. I think it was like 1 or 2 ticks left. So let's say as long as you get anything on this roll, it's finished.
Okay. Got a 5.
Nice. 5 is 2 ticks, so that would be enough. So now you have Girk as a specialist, and he's a pod race mechanic. We'll add some of these drawbacks and advantages for him later, but we don't need to do that right now. Cool.
And then I rolled the lowest.
Lowest attribute. So you're rolling 3 dice.
But the team, the group has a thing that lets us know that's with.
Yeah, that's for resistant. Yeah.
Yes, resistant. All right. So 3 dice will tell me if I.
You just don't want a 6.
Yeah. I got a 6.
You get the
So-
stakes. So the good thing is that you clear all your stress.
Yes.
Bad thing is that you overindulge. So you have to choose one of four things. You attract trouble, which means you get an additional entanglement. You brag about your exploits, which gives you +2 heat. You're tapped, which means your vice purveyor cuts you off. You will have to find someone new, some new place to gamble. Or you're lost, which means you wander off for a couple of weeks. Probably not that one, since since I don't think you want to make up a third character on the spot.
I'm going to go with brag because that's what I'm doing to get Girk to join our team.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense narratively that that's what ends up happening. So
Cool. So that's 2 heat, and I think that's on 13, 14, since that's where you're hanging out. Cool. Yeah.
So do we want to rewind, or do we want to go forward with the XP machine?
You have one more. No, sorry, you did both. Yeah. It's up to you.
I've been kind of absent, so me being there, knowing what's going on and being like, that's stupid. It doesn't. Either way, I'm fine with using.
But it's a heck of a re-intro. No. You guys are heading the wrong way.
Right.
And I'm
Like
telling you need to go do this.
Right. The elevator opens and there's like 15 guys with guns. And I'm like, guys, that's stupid. So what was our detail? I think we have to stick with the same approach, but have to, what was the, switch to a different plan with a different detail.
Yeah, so, I don't think you need to change the approach necessarily, but it was transport, and the detail is the route and means, which was requisition and Imperial crawler. Use that to just drive to the meeting place.
I can see why it
wasn't a fancy plan by any means, and it's the meeting place is on the border between the Bend and the reclamation zone. It's on the Bend side, but it's near the reclamation zone. And the reclamation zone is the area where they're rebuilding after the ramp. So it's a huge construction area.
Could we go through like some of the, there has to be like repair tunnels or something like that? Could we just basically Bugs Bunny burrow our way there and then pop up where we need to be?
You can absolutely do that. The problem with that is that in the Bend, those tunnels will be badly damaged, and if you have any maps, they may not be correct because things will have collapsed and that sort of thing. But it's absolutely something you can do.
That's my suggestion. Does anybody else have any other suggestions, thoughts?
I'm going to check in. Do you mind if Beta's kind of saucy about you stepping in and saying, no, I've got a better plan? Great. Okay. I just wanted to check in and make sure that was good.
But I'll be like, oh, here we go. Beta. I'll talk to her in a bit. I'm like, well, you're still kind of new. So.
Yes, but I've been here. I've been in the streets doing the work.
And you want to ride an Imperial vehicle into a meeting.
If you've got a better idea.
Okay. I wanted to discuss with you why I think we should challenge this idea, but maybe later. And so since I know I get a 4 to 5, I'll just do the repair tunnels thing.
Cool. So the way sorry.
I should say the complication is, you've already kind of defined the complication, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the way I picture this is like, like someone's doing a voiceover. Maybe it's Bade, maybe it's someone else, or maybe it's like Bade and Fritzi and Tycho alternating. But yeah, we get land. You requisition a crawler, an Imperial transport. We load up the crew, load up the gang. You'll drive. We'll just go through the reclamation zone, straight to the meeting. Fine, no problems. And then Val shows up and yeah, except, and it is still just voiceover while we're seeing this like montage of the action. Except, you know, Black Sun exists, right? They have a stronghold here, and you're like pointing to the map, which is at a point that's right where you were supposed to go through. And we know they have access to weapons from 1313. And then there's a shot of someone with, I looked it up actually, there's what's it called? Lip, I think, which is like a heavy laser anti-vehicle rifle. And I was get a shot of someone with that up on a rooftop somewhere and just blowing the tread off the crawler, and you're stuck there while they throw explosives at you and just everything blows up. So that's how I envision this.
I mentioned it's like chibi animation.
Yeah. So instead, you go through the service tunnels. This is something you know how to do. You've done this several times before. At least Bade has been on a couple of these jobs. I think Val was there when you extracted the Imperials from 1313, I think, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure which characters were there. But Bade at least has been in the tunnel several times. Only on 1313, but I mean it's pretty much the same everywhere. So yeah. Lan, of course, is not happy about going down into the tunnels. It seems super dangerous. It stinks and that sort of thing. But I mean,
even better.
Yeah, at this point, he just has to go along. So where do you figure you're getting into the tunnels? Like how close to the bend do you go before you go down into the tunnels? Or how close to the meeting place?
We can probably get in through north side somewhere, right? Like get into a like not that bad area and then come out there.
That means you're going through most of the bend. Like we're talking several miles of walking in the tunnels, which is absolutely doable. But it's several miles through partially collapsed tunnels with who knows what, but it's absolutely doable.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Yeah, let's get into it then. So you make your way into the tunnels. That's not a problem. You're used to doing that sort of thing. North side, you notice there's still a fair number of stormtrooper patrols, and Etma's face shows up on some of the wanted screens from time to time, but it's not as much as it was right after her and Bade ran into the troopers a few weeks back. Yeah, so you get into the tunnels, and in Northside things are mostly okay. It's like what you're used to from the Foundry, basically. It's the same kind of, I mean, everything's not well maintained, but you can like see where you're going, that sort of thing. But you notice that when you get into the bend, it's a whole different issue. There are some parts that are clear and working, but in a lot of places, the tunnels are collapsed or just like badly propped up and that sort of thing. And there's been a lot of jury-rigged power connections and that sort of thing. So I think the first issue here is just navigating, like moving through this mess without getting completely lost. And I'm not sure what you want to roll for this, but someone should roll something.
We have no map. Perhaps Tycho would reach out to the Force for guidance.
Ooh.
We have some kind of map already because of our smugglers thing, old schematics.
Right.
Whether it's accurate anymore or not, another.
Yeah,
reach out with that Force. That'd be great.
Does the Force have signal in the tunnels?
Yeah, that's true.
The Force is everywhere. It's throughout the universe. It permeates and binds us together.
That's a good business model. That's a very good business model. I appreciate that.
I mean, I wrote some notes about this, Captain.
You have the special ability old schematics, which means you have schematics that show passages, doorways, service tunnels, and other forgotten structures. So you have schematics of how the tunnels are supposed to be. The problem is that they're not quite matching. So I think that would be whatever method you use. I think you'll get increased effect from that, if that seems fair.
Well, I don't have to attune, but nobody spoke up, so I threw out.
Force it up. Yeah.
I definitely want it. Please.
Go for it.
I got my special ability. You do your thing.
And I think up to this point, Tycho has low-grade complained about the muck and mentioning we have a budget for replacing clothes, right, Captain? Okay, Cap, got it, no problem.
We call it a share system.
Is that directed at Val or at Bade?
Ooh. Oh, Tycho falls in with Val like right away. He has far more time working under Val than he does Bade. He respects Bade, but yeah. Okay, here we go. 6.
Nice. I just need to refresh the.
Rich, maybe put that on your healing clock to clean your clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
A sartorial clock.
Sartorial
damage.
Yeah, sartorial blemishes. Bad injury. Yeah, so you do it, and with increased effect or at great effect. So is this like you're like walking with your hands stretched out? Are you doing the Gandalf thing where it's like, does it smell as bad this way, or how does Tycho interact with the Force?
I don't know. There's always a temptation for me as a player to try to find some kind of totem or icon or thing, right? But that doesn't exactly fit with at least my view of the Force. So I think it's a thing where Tycho realizes his eyes are betraying him, and at first he maybe reaches out and touches his hand at Tritzy's back, but then he withdraws it and just tries to rely on the Force to see. And I will maybe he has a little mantra: I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Yeah, so I think that's what it looks like.
Cool. So how do you, like, in what manner do you like convey the information you get when you sense that no, it looks like the tunnel is safe right ahead, but we should turn left here?
Cap, wait. We need to turn here. Trust me, I've got that feeling.
Well, the two tunnels look exactly the same to me, so
Then you might as well take my advice.
absolutely. I flip
Thank
the
you.
coin and I land on you. Proceed.
How does Bade and Fritzy react to this?
I think Bade is like standing behind Val and is like, "What an incredible smell you've discovered." And isn't paying much attention, just following along, being saucy.
Yeah, I like Trissy's with Bade. Just kind of like y'all seem to know where you're going, so let's just get. And probably with like Lon too, kind of like not as affronted by whatever it is like here, but I don't think Trissy spent a lot of time in the tunnels.
Nice. So basically, you're following along. You start to hear noises, and it doesn't sound like people. It sounds more like claws scratching on the metal surface of the tunnels, and I think, yeah, Tycho, you're focused on finding the way. I think Bade, who's not really, who's just like trailing along, probably chatting a bit with Lon and his driver, who has been roped into going along with this, because Lon doesn't want to go alone with this strange group into the sewers. So I think you start to notice that there's sounds coming behind you. Of these scratchings, things scratching in the tunnels.
I think I stop everyone and I say, "Do you hear that? I think it's death coming for us." It's like I've heard these stories about these, undead rat things that survive in these tunnels, and they used to be people and they turned into these hairless looking things, and they're going to come for us.
Are they
Basically telling ghost stories.
undead rats or people that turned into rats?
Yes.
I can like give Bade a little shove on the shoulder. Come on.
Yeah, but now that you've stopped, Fritzy, you hear it too. You hear these scratching noises.
See, I told you.
If they're
So
rats,
Val-
they're rats.
So Val on screen finally pulls up his revolver that he's named for. And I don't know, spins the wheel, clicks it back in. I don't care if they are man or rat. They're bothering us. Let's take care of it.
Do you have like all the rounds in that thing, or just spinning that to be cool? Like,
do you say that
their
out loud?
chamber empty? Yeah. I don't think last time we decided Trissy was being played by Lori Petty, so she's
I see.
definitely more tank girl than.
So Bade might understand this better than Trissy. I'm like, well, we could play a game of Russian roulette because it's gambling, right? I'm like, you don't put some money down on that?
Sure, you go first and use my blaster, I guess.
Yeah. So while you're kind of bickering a bit and arguing about this, you hear, and we haven't defined if anyone else in the crew is with you. They could be. They maybe they are. Maybe they're not. That's up to you to decide when it matters. but I think you hear Lon suddenly yelling, and he drops to the ground as something from the roof, like up in the tunnel, drops down on it, and all you can see is that it's some kind of carapaced creature. It's green, speckled, and it has huge claws. So who's closest and who reacts first?
Well, I imagine Tycho was in front leading us, and I was behind him because I was
probably
making choices
closest
the
to
other
Lon.
tunnel.
Yeah. I'm probably closest to Lon, like trying to keep him from freaking out too much. Too late.
Yeah. So I've dropped a picture in the NPCs tab.
NPCs.
Yeah, it's the most convenient place.
No, I get it.
So you can see a picture of the sewer crab. It's like 3 feet wide. It's got these huge claws and big red glowing eyes. It's kind of spiky, and it has it doesn't have a huge mouth, but it kind of opens up, like there are these big mandible-like things, and it's snapping at Lan as he's crawling backwards in the muck in the tunnel. So Tritzy, you were the one. You react first. What do you do?
Probably pull blaster and start blasting. Even I'm real bad at it, but that's the instinct.
Yeah. You're better at it than Lon is.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. So do you think this is a skirmish, or
I think it is a skirmish? Yeah.
Maybe someone is helping you.
Maybe someone's helping me.
I am. I'm firing my with you. That's one stress for me, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. I'm also gonna push. This is a stressful situation.
Cool. You are in a risky position. I think what you notice is that the carapace this thing has is really thick. So it's a bit resistant to blaster fire, so you're going to have limited effect.
Can I trade position for effect?
You can absolutely do that.
I will do that then.
So that's kind of you. I assume that's you, like getting up really close to get
closer shots with trying to jam a blaster somewhere. It'll do anything good. Cool. 2 dice at desperate. That's a 5.
Yeah, you do it with a consequence. Severe harm, a serious complication, or reduced effect. Yeah. Think you're going to get 2 consequences here, but not quite that bad. One is that you take level 2 harm, and you can resist either or both or neither of these, depending on what you want to do, but you have to resist them separate. One is that you take level 2 harm as it snaps you with one of the claws. The other is a complication that Lon gets injured.
I'm definitely going to resist the harm.
Yeah, you can use armor for that. That will, in this case, I think it will stop the harm complete.
Yeah. Normal load. I think I'm going to do that with the armor then.
Yeah, sorry, everyone should have picked the load as well. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, I figured normal since we want to move, but don't want to attract too much attention.
Again, as I think I mentioned this before, with a heavy load, you are kind of loaded down a bit. You will be slower and that sort of thing. But on the other hand, you do have more stuff with you.
Cool, and I will also resist the damage to Lon then.
Cool.
3 dice, I think.
Yeah, because you have 2 in everything and the extra die.
Let's see what that looks like. That's a 6.
Yeah, no stress.
Yeah, so I like slide, like I pull off a few blasts. It doesn't really do anything, and kind of slide around in front of it. And I imagine it does like grab me a couple of times, and in the armored whatever I'm wearing for armored parts, and just sort of like get in between the crab and Lon. So like run, scuttle away, do what you got to do. Kind of like wrestling with it while like putting some shots in the soft underparts.
Yeah, I think Val like gets in a couple of shots on it that kind of flips it over a bit,
Yes.
so that you can get at it, get at the less armored underbelly. Yeah, you blast it a couple of times. It snaps at you. You parry with your armor, and Lan is like crawling backwards. His driver, who I named Bator Brosho, he's pulled out like a kind of a fancy blaster, but it seems functional, but it's kind of dinky. He doesn't get a chance to fire off a shot at this point. Yeah, you manage to save Lon from the crab creature. It kind of as it crawls up and dies. But then you hear this scuttling behind you in the tunnels, and it's growing in intensity. There's clearly more of these creatures.
I think I would have preferred zombie rat people Bade. Let's book it.
I'm gonna encourage everyone to move on, and I'm gonna take up the position in the rear.
Cool. I think I want to do a group action here, as you're starting to hurry a bit. You have to get through these tunnels without getting stuck in a dead end, getting hurt, that sort of thing. And I think that's going to take like the whole group working together. It seems to me like it's Prowl, but it could be something else. But with a group action, everyone rolls the same thing. So
Prowl sounds right.
Proud.
yeah, cool. So everyone gets to roll. Someone has to lead. One person has to lead. It's the usual. They take 1 stress for everyone who fails, but the whole group gets to use the best roll anyone gets. So
if Val's in the back, I'll lead.
Cool. Bade has the most experience in the tunnels, so Bade takes point.
Okay.
With Tycho, I assume close behind, like trying to guide Bade to avoid.
Yeah, like I think he has his hand on her back, half following, half trying to feel ahead to guide. Probably annoyingly so. Like, let's be honest. Which action are we grouping?
Yeah.
Oh, there it
It
is.
froze for a bit there, Rich.
Okay. Which action are we doing a group action on?
Prowl.
So I think this leaves Tritzy to manage Lon and Bator.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll my Prowl, which is 2d6, but BD8, my little droid, has potency with tracking or fighting beasts and droids. Would that apply here?
Yeah, sure. It can help you like see where these crab things seem to have moved before, and you can avoid those tunnels.
Yeah. So that wouldn't be assistance, but that would be potency on how well we do. So let me roll my 2d6. I got a 5.
Cool.
Go. Oops. I rolled 3s, but I got 1.
Ooh, I got a 3. I guess Bait telling people what to do and me telling people what to do at the same time isn't very effective.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
that's
was trying to
3
keep Lon
fails.
together.
Is that right? So
Yeah.
3
I also
stress.
got a 1. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. I keep trying to herd everybody in and say, come on, we've got to move faster. No, don't go down that way. Don't you see the sign right there? That's where they'll expect you. No, go there. Yeah.
Yeah, Bade really gets to show off her experience in the tunnels. You get away from these scuttling sounds. You stop somewhere. It's like a big cistern kind of thing. There's like algae growth on the walls, like to halfway up, but right now the water is at a lower level, and there are like ladders you can climb up to get higher up. You stop there to breathe for a few minutes after running away from the sewer crabs, and I think that's where we'll take our break. So let's take 5 minutes. Yeah. So you're in this cistern. You've caught your breath a little bit. What's your strategy for continuing on? I think you think you're about maybe somewhere between a third and a half of the way through the dam.
So are the crabs still pursuing us?
Not that you can't hear them anymore.
We can't hear them. Okay.
You hear some clanking noises now and then, but it's not this scuffling or the scratching you heard before. So it's probably just things settling or something else.
And how about off his lawn?
He didn't get hurt since Tritzy shoved him out of the way.
Yeah.
But he's dirty and he's a bit shook up.
He definitely likes this plan less than the other plan we had.
Yeah. I think he's sticking quite close to Tritzy and his driver.
Okay.
So yeah, Bade, are you taking the lead now since you or is Val back in charge?
So I think what happened was once we hit this place and we kind of took a breather, I think Val kind of stepped back and I think Bade basically stepped back and kind of, let Val take charge, but it's kind of going around to everybody to make sure that they're, do you need anything? Passing out some rations or some water, or, maybe a flask to take a sip from, especially with Lan, hands him a flask so he can have something that might calm his nerves a little bit.
Yeah, he's oh, thank you. This is most appreciated. And he takes a heavy he takes a sip and then he takes another one and then he takes quite a heavy heavy drink. Oh yes, if I had known this journey would be quite this arduous, I would have suggested perhaps delaying this this meet until a more convenient time. But well, here we are.
Well, I think it's going to be breeding season soon, so I think we hit them at the right time.
Interesting, Captain. I didn't know you were aware of the breeding season of these creatures. That's fascinating.
Yes, well, I do research before I go on jobs, and I'm looking at you like, no, I don't. Shut up. All I did was, I'm doing this just to rile up Lon.
and I'm teasing, like Tycho's teasing. Is this totally a thing?
Right.
As a true leader. It's a true leader you're looking at.
Well, so I think Val wants to delegate at this point, and I'm just trying to figure out what a good delegation would be.
I was just going to say, I think Lan is completely buying into this, but the driver, he can tell that you're full of shit, but you just messing with him.
Hmm.
It's not clear whether he disapproves or not.
All right. Oh, I'm going to suggest to Tritsy and Bade that since they're both good at Tinker, just pull up the schematics and get us a direct line out of here. We found a circuit that will work or something like that. And I'll entertain Lon and the driver so that you can work. You don't have to do what I'm saying, but that's what Val is saying. Just to, we're far enough in now that we can hit their system and get some ideas of what's going on.
Yeah, Tritsy's into that. There's a console or something nearby for in the cistern.
Yeah, I think you like climb up and there's like a control station.
Yeah.
Like at the top of this cistern. You manage to get the console there working. It's clearly not been properly maintained, but it is in working condition.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think primarily just getting a more recent schematic, I guess, of it, getting a course through.
And I think Bade's part in this is to, bypass some of the locks that are in place, the security that's associated with this terminal. And I think as Tritsy starts to go in, I'm like, oh yeah, look for life signs too.
Yep. See if there's any pest control we can activate in here. Cool. Yeah, I'll do that with Tinker. Bade, are you helping?
Yep, I'll assist you.
Awesome. Cool.
You have the free help, right?
Let me read that over and make sure this is how I prepared for it. So I think my preparation was I had hacking tools and had prepared a way just in case we had to hack into a system. So I'm going to use my slicing tools and help that way. Yep.
Oh yeah, and I've got my free slicing tools on me all the time. System. Okay. Yeah, 4 dice is good. There's my 1-1-1-6.
Yeah. You start working with the terminal. Bade connects her thing there that eliminates some of the blocks. You can see that they've entered more recent information than the original schematics. There are additions and changes, so you can spot several places where the tunnels have collapsed. But there is actually, I think there's actually a couple of routes marked. Like if you need to go here, take this, go this way, go this way. If you close this door here, then you can keep the crabs out, that sort of thing. So I think this is all set to take you like another third of the way. So you'll be not quite all the way, but you'll get past. I think it directs you to go through the greens, which is part of the bend that has been reclaimed, and it's kind of a gentrified neighborhood. So the service tunnels under there, they are well maintained and repaired and that sort of thing. And with this information, you can cut through there, and that puts you at you're almost at the meeting point. And you clearly notice the whole group. You clearly notice when you're passing into this area that's been repaired. It's not an abrupt shift it's not like things are messy and things are fully repaired. But you notice that gradually things do get nicer. It's clear that there are more maintenance patrols and that sort of thing. So they're kind of working their way into the band, at least down here in the service tunnels. But the area that's under the greens, that's updated and that's it. There are probably some people working there, so you may have to. Yeah, actually, I think when you get into the greens, you start noticing that there are maintenance workers moving around there. So you'll need to decide how to deal with that. If you try to sneak past them, or what your approach will be if you bump into someone. Actually, let's do that a bit more pointedly. You get into the area under the greens, and you do bump into, or you hear a group of maintenance workers coming down the same tunnel from the other direction. They're like around a bend, so you'll have to decide how to handle that. So who takes charge, and what do they tell everyone to do?
Bade looks at Val.
That's the end of the sentence. Bade looks at
Yeah.
Val.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here.
Well, sir, if you'd like, I could talk to them, or we could just shoot them.
So I'm guessing that I'm going to blame jet lag instead of my normal indecisiveness on this one.
No, take your time.
Yeah. I want to have a flashback where we got some piece of equipment that's basically like I don't know, like a gas grenade or something like that that'll knock these guys out. And I'll have masks for us and the item. And how much stress would that cost?
Let's see. So it's
an unusual weapon is what I'll click, but
yeah, it's not a 2 stress. I think getting that sort of thing it's not too difficult. I mean, you have Eve on the ship who's a chop droid. She could help rig something, and I think 1 stress is reasonable to have that sort of thing.
Okay. So I hand out. So when Bade turns to Val, I can talk to them. We can shoot them or whatever. And I pull a object out of my cloak, and I'm like, "How's your aim?" And I chuck the grenade like object to you, and I start pulling out rebreathers for everybody.
And I think Bade's eyes get really wide, and she's like, "Okay, I see. We're gonna have a talk after this." And she kind of walks up, and she picks up, she kind of hefts the grenade a little bit, and then she's going to pick up the, some debris off the ground, and basically throw both of them at the same time, kind of as cover. What do you think that would be?
You choose what action you do, but it seems like you're trying to disguise your intent there.
Well, I am. Yeah, I definitely am. I think that there wouldn't be any problem if I was just rolling this thing down the tunnel and setting it off, but disguising it so that they don't know that they're actually under attack and won't be able to figure that out later. That's true. Mm-hmm. So
prowl could work. It could be skirmish. Probably one of those, unless you want to argue for something else.
Yeah, let's do prowl.
So
Yeah,
I think,
ambush is there. Okay.
yeah. You're in a risky position, and I think even though the conditions in the service tunnels here on 1314 aren't nearly as bad as they are in 1313, I think the people who work down here, they still have some form of protective gear. So I think this will have limited effect by default. You can, does that seem unfair? Is it taking away too much from?
No, I think that's fine.
Val's plan, I was thinking.
Val, what do you think?
You're asking the player or Val?
Yeah.
Yeah, the player.
Yeah, I could pay an additional stress to make them be something that their systems won't block or whatever.
Yeah, I think if you want a gas that would like bypass their protective gear, or that would be like a contact thing instead of something you breathe in, or actually the way you described with the mask is probably something they breathe in. Yeah, then it would be more of a specialized thing. It's not just standard knockout gas. It's something you've engineered particularly, and then it would cost an extra stress, but that would put you at standard, data at standard effect.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that does. And I think at this point I need to have an NPC created, start working on that, because this is a pretty extravagant flashback. So I will work on that.
Cool. So, Bade, you're risky, standard effect. By default, you have your 2 prowl dice. Is anyone helping you? Are you pushing yourself?
So I can push myself. Do you have a devil's bargain idea?
I don't have an idea straight up. I think maybe like Lance Driver, I think his mask doesn't quite fit properly, so he also gets knocked out. I have to carry him around. At least for a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. And so I think Val is helping me for effect. And I've got a devil's bargain. I don't think I can push myself or get other assistance. Is that right?
You can push for both position and effect. Sorry, that should be dice and effect. So you've taken a devil's bargain.
Right.
Val is assisting you, I think.
For effect, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. But that was part of the flashback. So you're at you're a risky standard. You've got a devil's bargain for 1 extra die. Currently, no one is assisting you. You could push yourself for extra effect, but I don't think you really need great effect unless you want to be able to trade off that for something.
Tycho would be happy to help Bade by distracting these guys so that Bade has a clear shot, maybe drawing them forward so he steps out. I'm here for the inspection.
Yeah, so instead of Bade having to throw these things at the same time, it's like Tycho distracts them, Bade tosses the grenade, and they get knocked out.
Perfect.
Does that seem okay?
Yeah.
So you've got 4 dice then.
Okay. So let me roll that. I got a 5.
So you do it with a consequence. So the driver is going to get knocked out because that was part of the devil's bargain.
That's right.
I think
What if Lon also gets knocked out?
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, sure. That would be a complication. You can resist that if you want to.
Yeah, so I think I'll try to resist that. And I think this is going to be my consort, my resolve to basically make sure I have a good relationship with Lon and make sure that he's got his mask in place and all that kind of stuff, and he's covered up. So with resolve, I had 3 dice, and then I think we have, as smugglers, we have a 4th. So let me roll that. My best is a 5, so I'll take a stress.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Cool.
So yeah, I think what this looks like on screen is, I see Lon stepping forward, and just before I throw, I turn around and I click the little button that turns on the rebreather, right?
Yeah.
And then I throw. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So these maintenance workers, they they get confused by this Tycho showing up, and then there's this gas, and then they just kind of topple over. But so does Lon's driver, because apparently he hadn't clicked on the rebreather. He had the mask on, but he hadn't clicked up.
And I think to cover things up a little bit, part of that is going to be, leaving some debris in place and picking up the canister so that they don't see it was a grenade, and maybe pulling a pipe loose so it looks like they got a dose of something from a pipe, or yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Just covering our tracks a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I like that. So yeah, you get through the greens, and you're back in the band. Things are getting messy again. You still have some help from the schematics that Fritzi pulled up from the console. You have Tycho kind of sensing where you're supposed to be going. You haven't heard anything more from the crabs, but you're starting to hear more of these clanging noises, and it's starting to feel like there's pattern to it. And you get to, I think you're at the point where you're about to leave the service tunnels. You're not quite there yet, but you're at this kind of junction. It's not an open area, but it's like a big square Duracrete box underground where multiple tunnels go into this place. And you're about to pick the one that goes to the exit closest to where you're going. And you hear more of these clanging noises, and yeah, nice. It picks up some things from the maintenance workers. Cool. Yeah, you hear more of these clanging noises. You start down the tunnel you're supposed to go down, and then a pressure door slams shut right in front of you, and the controls aren't working, and you hear these clanging noises behind you, and then you hear a voice. Hey, surface dwellers! You haven't paid your toll! Gotta pay the toll! Yeah, gotta pay the toll.
The troll toll.
How much is the toll?
How much you got? Yeah, that looks fancy. Oh, he's got a nice blaster. Let's have that.
I'll walk towards them, hands aside, try to get close enough to get a look at whoever is holding us up here.
Yeah, you spot, like, in that room you left, that big square room with the tunnels. there's some debris and that sort of thing there. And you see these little figures. They're like 3 feet tall, maybe, and they have like gear on for living in the tunnels, and they're kind of scuttling between these pieces of cover. And you can see some of them are definitely armed. You see some blasters, and yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's at least you're not sure because they're moving around a lot, but there's at the very least 5 or 6, and there could easily be 10 or 20 hidden somewhere here in the garbage. It's hard to tell.
There are a few workers back that way. They're unconscious, easy pickings, much wiser than forcing us to pay a toll, I think, and you can have at it, friends.
Cool. That sounds like you're trying to sway them.
It does sound just like that.
Yeah, and you have something extra for sway, right?
I do. When I have 1 stress, I have mercurial. If your stress is 0 or 1, you gain +1 effect on consort and sway.
Nice. Which means you're at risky and great effect.
Risky and great effect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, were we in we kind of exited out of desperate by doing this. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push myself for an extra die because I only have 1 die.
Why don't I help you instead, rather than you pushing yourself? And I think we'll flash back. This is, I know Tritsy got like ID cards and that kind of stuff, but I took some of the equipment, like drills or something like that, off of, or protective equipment off of the guards, and I say, "Here's a down payment," and I toss that to the people, saying they've got more stuff like this.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's actually
that's 0 stress. That's an ordinary action for which you had easy opportunity. I mean, just picking some stuff off the people you knocked out. That's
and actually, I'm going to use my second free flashback to help out a teammate.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
cool. Okay, then I'm rolling 2 dice, and I could get great effect.
Mhm.
Here we go. Come on, dice. Oh, 2 and a 3.
Things go badly, suffer harm or complication, lose this opportunity, or your position becomes desperate. I think you're going to move to a desperate position. They
Awesome.
like you give them you place these or Bade like tosses you this extra stuff. Tycho, you place it forward, and you're talking very you have a good you feel like you have a good rapport with these guys, or whatever they are. A couple of them scuttle forward and grab the equipment, and then they go back in, and they're clearly like looking it over, and we already have these. Are you trying to buy us off with things we can pick up whenever we want? This won't do. No. This won't do at all. Pay us now, or you will come to regret it.
Look back at Val, my hand kind of straying down a little bit, ready to draw a blaster, but waiting for orders.
And I look back at Val like, you want me to handle this?
I love it. With a smirk, I give Bade the nod.
Nice. So Bade walks up and bumps into Ness. That's his name, right? And
if it's Esnada, you mean?
No. Bumps into Lon. I'm sorry. Bumps into Lon.
No. Okay. Yeah.
And kind of walks up and produces Lon's cred chip, right? And pays off the guys with that. And I think the role will be a, can I pickpocket Lon's, cred chip without any fuss?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
That's yes, it sounds like.
Yeah, finesse. I don't get to steal stuff often. That's good. And I'll push myself just to make it a little bit better.
Whoop,
And roll that.
we got 5 dice.
I've got 5 dice.
Nice.
I want to steal stuff. I really want to steal stuff. And what effect?
I think you're at standard effect, probably. Yeah.
Okay. And we are in a desperate situation now.
Yeah.
XP.
Okay. Yeah.
Rich, don't forget the XP, huh?
Thank you.
I got a 6.
Nice. So yeah, I think one of them and like carrying a blaster that's clearly too big for them is moving forward, and then another one scuttles up beside you, and they snatch the cred chip and they back off again, and you hear some beeping from some sort of yeah, whatever they're using to read this. Yes. Toll has been paid. Toll has been paid. Toll has been paid. And they scuttle off back into the darkness. And a few seconds later, the pressure door opens again. You can proceed.
I love these guys. I love them so much.
And I think as we walk back up, I'm like, I'm kind of commiserating with Lon. I'm like, it's, I know you're used to easier travels, but down here in the depths, it's a lot harder for us, normals who have to like deal with stuff. I know that looked a little tense, but you just got to know when to pay people, and it's nice to have money to throw around.
Oh yes. I'm glad you were because he hasn't noticed that you lifted it off of him. So fortunate that you had a sufficient sum available to satisfy these strange creatures.
That's why we work. That's why you hired us for the job. That's why we work so well. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So you get out of the tunnels, and for Bade, at least, and to some extent Val and Tycho, I think mostly for Bade, getting up into the bend, it's a little bit like coming home, because this is what 1314 looks like. Or 1313 looks like. It's a lot darker in most places than in 1314. It's shabby, badly maintained, and you can clearly see like a gang of the street, what's clearly a gang of street criminals hanging out outside a bar a couple of blocks away. So yeah, you're close to the meeting point, but you're not quite there yet. You have to get through this area where you don't know who the players are and what areas are safe and not. So what's the plan here, and who's taking point on that?
Do you mind if I do something crazy? You guys okay with that?
Oh,
Go for it.
yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Sure.
I'm gonna rush the guys that are the thugs that are hanging outside the bar, just to pop them in the nose, with the intention of, that's kind of what you do whenever you're on the street. You pick up the biggest thug and you hit them, and maybe they'll respect you. So I'm just gonna rush them, right? And I'll roll skirmish for that.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still desperate. Is that right?
No, I don't think so. You're out of that situation, so you're back to being risky. But you did mark XP for your desperate roll.
I did. So I'm gonna roll my. That's skirmish, right? Just
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah,
Or
that's
it could be
skirmish.
command if you're more focused on like impressing them than actually hurting them.
So I'm not interested in hurting them, and I'm not interested in telling them what to do. I'm more interested in showing them I know the ways of the street. So would that be a consort?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so. Consort is more that's like a friendly sort of thing. but command includes
Okay.
intimidate or threaten, and that,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what you're going.
Perfect.
So
I'll do that.
You could try to consort, but like punching someone in the face in a friendly way. I'm not sure. I mean,
No,
you
no,
could
this isn't
do it
friendly.
as a way of introducing yourself, and then like trying to play it off as you're like them. You're also from the street. That could work.
No, I'm afraid that if I were too friendly, they'd take us as a mark. So I think aggression is the way to go here. Let me roll that. I'm going to push myself to get another die.
Pushing.
I got a 6. I'm glad I pushed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is they're like four people hanging out outside this bar. They're like smoking death sticks and chatting. You show up there, and they're not like super tough guys. But how do you like how do you show them that you know what you're doing?
Yeah, so I think that what happens is they kind of eye us as we crawl out of the, that alley entryway, and they see that we came from underground. They're just kind of watching like you do on the street, like, like you do Prey, right? So as soon as we get up, and I let them watch everybody kind of get up and kind of figure out who might be the weakest link. And while they're doing that, I'm kind of walking up towards the bar, and I see them start to straighten up, and that's whenever I kind of jump and punch probably the weakest of them, the smallest guy. Just punch him and lay him out. And I'm like, no, you don't want to mess with us. We don't, you didn't see us. We didn't see you. We're all okay. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy you punch is like, as he doesn't quite collapse on the ground, but he like falls back against the wall of this of the bar, and the others they kind of eye each other for a moment, like someone's halfway going for a blaster, but then they see there's quite a few of you, and you're armed clearly, and you look like you know what you're doing, even though who's carrying the driver, by the way?
Well, since
I certainly wouldn't have volunteered to do it, but if Val indicated that need to be done, I'd do it.
I think at this point, yeah, I think I'm taking care of it. It makes sense that I let Bade do his thing and continue to do her thing. It's why I expect Tycho to stand up, take a stand up. Why I keep ordering other people to do things. This is my cover for the fact that I like to tell people what to do. So yeah, I'm taking care of the driver.
Cool. So they see, even though Lon clearly isn't up to, he looks like a lost noble, which is what he is. But the rest of you look like you know what you're doing. So hey, we don't want any trouble. Just keep walking and everything's copacetic.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. We appreciate it. We'll be out of your hair in just in a short time.
Yeah, they just mumble something and like help the friend up, and yeah, let's get another drink in, and they slink into the bar to avoid further trouble. Yeah. So the meeting spot is, I think it's like an abandoned apartment building. It's clear why it's abandoned, because it's not fully straight up anymore, and you feel like all the way walking there, ever since you get up out of the tunnels, the ground is kind of leaning a little bit. It's like almost like it's making you a little bit seasick, because you keep like stumbling. What the horizon isn't tilted the right way. Clearly, it's result of whatever caused the rend, but that they haven't straightened everything out yet. And this building is even worse off. It's kind of tilted, and it's partly collapsed from the lack of structural integrity, basically. And you're supposed to go up to the 3rd floor, and that's where you'll meet your. That's where they set up the meet. Yeah, who's going up there with Lon? Are you going up, all of you, or is you send him up by himself, or who comes along?
So if I'm not mistaken, our rebel contact that we have is the one that I saw in the back of the building the last time. Is that right?
The one you talked to was the big
Yes.
Fogo Cups.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, since they'd recognize me, I want to make sure I can make introductions. So I'm going up.
Yeah, I'll definitely go up with Lon there too.
Yeah. So Tycho and Val, are you staying downstairs, or are you going along as well? It's completely up to you. I'm not trying to push you either way.
There's nothing interesting downstairs. I'll go up as well.
I mean, I'm not going to carry this guy all the way up the stairs. So,
I mean, you can stash him somewhere, and
what I'll do is I'll nod to Tycho and I point to my ear, and I just have him like turn on some sort of microphone that'll pick up what's going on in the room, and I'll just listen in.
Well, if you want to come, I'm sure we can do something to wake this guy up.
By now? Yeah.
Like, actually, do we have smelling salts or
something like that? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't have done this without bringing something. All right. So I take him to the bar and I give him some salts, and I'm like, you're going to need lots of liquids, and everything's going to taste like plastic for a while. So just get used to it. And I order a beer for him. Once again, not paying my tab, and head upstairs.
Oh, sorry. The bar isn't in this building you're going.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
But there can definitely be. I think there's like this little tavern across the street. That's clearly like a local place. There's no sign or anything. There's just the door is open, and there's you can see inside that there's some people sitting in there having a drink. So yeah.
Well, since one of my character things is that I never pay my tab, I'm going to assume I have a tab here and set him up, and everything then I'll cross the street and I'll head on up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've probably been in here like once before, but that's enough for you to set something up.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. So do you follow the other ones up to yeah. Then we'll get everyone in the same place. Yeah. So the person waiting for you there is Fogo, the fifth, and he's there with should pick her up there as well. The one you talked to before. Where are the rebels? Yeah, Shachri. I'll put her. Yeah. She's kind of hanging back a bit, and she nods to Bade, who I think is the one who's seen her before. Boko isn't here. I thought he was with you.
Well, not all of us can be everywhere. So, the three of us are who you have today. 4 of us are who you have today.
Oh, okay. And she kind of leans over and knocks on the wall. And then Theolog comes out. This is the first time you've actually met him. And he's on the NPCs tab as well. And he is very lean looking. And he is clearly like taking in the whole room. You can see that he notices every one of you. But he seems, he looks relaxed. But I think, yeah, I think all of you are experienced enough to that you can tell that he's not tense, but he's ready to go if something would happen. He's ready. And then he breaks out in this very easy smile, and he directs it at Lon, and oh, so you're the our highly placed friend that I'm here to see. And Lon is kind of, oh, well, yes, very pleased to meet you. I'm not going to play out their whole dialogue. Think I'm going to make a fortune roll to see how well this goes. But I think one of you can assist, and one of you could do a setup action if you want to increase the effect level. If anyone wants to, or you can just leave them to it. If you get involved, that means you're also opening yourselves up to consequences. Like if things go badly, they could blame you, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Or Tricia, like sort of back up the noble house side, saying like, yeah, like basically talking Lon up and saying, you know, the houses have more of a influence down here than one might expect or want, really. So it's you know, getting in good with them is good for the rebellion.
Cool. So is that you assisting, or are you? Yeah, cool. So does someone want to do a setup action, like laying the groundwork or something? No one seems to have any. I don't have an obvious idea for it either. So I guess we're going with that.
I will. How about so I have an idea. How about if I talk up with Satri, right? So as soon as I make introductions between Lon and Theolog and everything, I step back and we talk a little bit about Boko, and then the conversation shifts, and I drop some names of like and I've forgotten the names. Was it Mara? The upper level rebels, that Maxa and stuff like that. I drop a few rebel names, and this is to show how involved we are with the rebels, how we're doing the right thing with them, and that's the setup action.
Cool. That absolutely works. So it sounds like you're doing consort, maybe?
Do you want me to roll that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're rolling. You're doing. Actually, let me check, because I don't think we've done this before. So setup. Yeah, you give an action. You do an action to give someone else extra effect level.
Okay.
But here you're in. I think you're in a controlled position. So because it's not really like you're not in a stressful situation in that sense.
Okay. So let me roll my consort. I got a 4.
Yeah, so you can either withdraw and try a different approach, or you can do it and suffer consequence, a minor complication, reduced effect, lesser harm, or your position becomes risky. I think a minor complication is reasonable here. Like both you and Sasha are, get her name, Shachri. You're both distracted, like talking. You get into talking to each other, so you're distracted in case something happens. You can resist that
perfect.
if you want.
That sounds great. No, I think I'm going to let that sit.
Cool. So I'm going to roll 3 dice for Theolog and Lon talking to each other. They're both interested in making this work, but they come from very different places. They get an extra die from Fritz's assistance, and they have increased effect because Bade has laid the groundwork. So I'm going to roll those, and they get a crit. 2 1s, but 2 6s. So yeah, they it seems they despite being very different, they get along really well, and they start to get into some specific details about, and it's clear that they're on the same. They're both interested in making this work. They start to get into some details, but they but they don't get hung up on anything. It's clear that they can find some way to move this forward. And Theolog says that once they understand that once they have an understanding, I will get some nice a somewhat smirkier picture. I will get send one of my associates to get in touch with you. We'll use this, and they set up basically a contact protocol so that Lan knows what to tell his superiors about what to expect, and get things set up. And I think that's the end of the job. Let's take 5 minutes, and then we can do the aftermath. Yeah. So you finished the job. I don't think we need to play through you getting back out again. I don't think that's particularly interesting. So let's do the fallout, and then see if we have time for a couple of scenes. Maybe I'd like to, if we can. So you get paid in rep. I think it's two rep plus 1 per tier higher. And I think the target here was basically Black Sun, because they were the ones who were the biggest threat. You completely circumvented them, but that's fine. They're 1 tier higher than you, so you get 3 rep. I'll mark that on the sheet. 1, 2, 3.
I get 1/100th of a rep for that punch that Bade gave. That
Yeah. I'll just remember that. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
99 punches more, Bade. Here we go.
And then you get your money. You get 12 creds. But I think you should also pay off your patrons, since that's how this works. They will take 4 creds from your payoff, so you're getting 8. How do you want to split those up?
2 each.
What about one
Orcs.
each and 4 in the stash, just so we've got some in there? Anyone can pull from there, so it doesn't
That's
really
true.
matter.
We
but
do need to
Yeah.
build it back up after the
Sounds good.
tier.
Cool. I'll put 4 in the vault. Then heat. I think this will count as contained standard exposure. You had that encounter with the maintenance people. They punched someone. There was a little bit going on, but it wasn't nearly. It wasn't absolutely not at the level of loud and young. So that's 2 heat. Target is high profile or well connected. Yeah, you were acting on Black Sun's turf, which means. But I think I want to give you 1 total for high profile and hostile turf because you didn't really encounter Black Sun, but you were acting in their area, and word will spread about that. So that's 3. You're not at war, and there was no killing involved. So that's 3 heat on your 13-14 thing. Did someone mark something? Yeah, sorry, those were the 2 from the bragging. Yeah, you're at 5 heat, which means, but your wanted level is 0. So I think so. Yeah. So I'm rolling 2 dice and taking the lowest for the entanglement. That's a 1, which means gang trouble or questioning. Gang trouble is one of your gangs or other cohorts of trouble. Do nothing or and lose rep equal to your tier +1. Make an example of one of them or face replies those. The other is questioning. Of course, I pick up an NPC or someone. Yeah. I think I'm going to go with gang trouble here. And this is.
Ooh, the Black Sun going to send a proxy after us?
No, sorry. This is one of your. This is trouble within the. Within your crew, and I think this is.
Are they upset because of Lon because he's a rich boy?
Kind of. This is Zorik Moz, who's part of Tritz's crew, and who is kind of planted there to make sure you or like stick with like he's there from your patron's house, and I think he pulls like on the after you're back at the Banff Sleep, you're kind of celebrating a bit that you get a big payday, and he pulls Fritzy, he pulls you aside, and he's look, I know it's good that we're pulling in money, that you're building contacts, but like you're supposed to be working for our house. Now you're doing.
Our house just made 4 creds. Of course, we're working for them.
Yeah, but you're setting up other nobles.
I'm setting them up to work with the rebels.
Yeah.
Think about it. The Imperials are still here, right?
For now.
Right. So think of it as, you know how that crab took out a bunch of my armor I was telling you about? Think of them as my armor and the Imperials as a crab.
I don't know what you're going with.
Look, someone's going to team up with the rebels, right? And the Imperials are going to do some damage to them. Why should we be that person? Let someone else take the heat.
you set them up to like be in favor with the rebels when the rebels take over.
Yeah,
That's
but the
good for them.
Imperials are
That's
going to
not good
give
for
them a
us.
hard time in the meantime. You want
Will
Imperial
they?
entanglements?
Are you going to
Go-
sell them out to the Imperials?
I don't know. I don't care.
Because if you don't, then the Imperials don't know about it, and then
Whoever
there's no
pays
armor.
most. I mean, rebels, Imperials doesn't really matter to me. Whoever's paying. You want a side job? Go ahead and do that.
I don't want a side job. I just want us to do the job. We're supposed to we're not supposed to be working for Gilash.
We're getting Gilash to pay us, who's paying our house.
Yeah, but look, you know that it's not just about who's getting paid today. It's about working for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And you're setting them up to be all buddy with the rebels when there's a rebel governor here instead of an imperial governor.
All right. You want to run the gang here? You can have my job. I don't care. Take it.
Yeah, maybe I should have your job.
All right, cool. You get to call the shots on the next one. I'll follow your lead.
Cool. So let's I'm going to look at the mechanical bits and see kind of where we're landing there. So there's three options there. You can do nothing and lose rep equal to your tier +1, which means you lose 4 rep. That seems kind of what you're going for. You can make an example of them, like beat him up or kick him out or something like that. Or you can face reprisals, which in this case, that means he goes tackling and your patron becomes unhappy with you.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the tattling thing is the most interesting, but I feel like I might be the one to go doing that. Like telling them like, hey, this guy's giving me a hard time because of this, and this. What are you gonna do about it? And then that might come back on me.
Cool. I'll make a note of that, and I think we'll pick up on that next session.
Cool.
Cool. Contract taken. Cool. Since we have a little bit of time, I think I'd like to see a scene with Tycho and Val. Kind of like sometime after the job, just to see how you're, where you're at, what you think of how the crew is working out.
And then I think Bade promised me a conversation after the mission too, or the job too. So I want to see the approach on that one.
Cool. Do you want to do that before or after?
No. Let's start with
Tycho, let's do that
one
before, because if we're doing a little bit of an assessment, that should be
okay. All right.
Part of
Can
it.
you be there during that conversation then, Tycho?
Unless you told me it was you and Bade alone, sure, I'll be there.
Bade, what how does this start? Do you want a private audience with your liege?
So I think what this happens is we're back at the bar and we're kind of partying a little bit, celebrating. That was a pretty good haul, and we were able to pay off our patrons, and that's been really nice. And I think you're kicked back up like in a corner booth, and I slide in, and Tycho's welcome to be there. And I think the way this goes down is I'm like, so that was pretty nice that you had those that knockout grenade. Maybe it would be helpful if you didn't hold out information while the rest of us tried to go through a make a plan about, how to do our jobs.
I knew about it. Tycho's lying.
So is that how it is, Val, that, you and yours know about the plans and you leave the rest of us in the dark? Because I don't think that's going to function real well.
So I'm willing to roll with this, but I thought the point of a flashback was like, oh yeah, guys, we'll totally need a knockout grenade for this.
Oh, it totally is. This is just this. I'm sorry. Mechanically and thematically, you're fine. Paige just got her butt hurt, right? And she's just, doing whatever she can to, try and reassert her position that, yeah.
So I think maybe to tie this into the fiction a bit, like you were talking about this this possibility that you'd run into some maintenance crew, and Val maybe just said, "Yeah, I've got that covered."
I see, yeah.
That sort of thing.
Perfect. Okay.
Cap said he had it covered. Maybe you should trust your team, Bade.
So you feel uncomfortable that you don't know everything? No accusation, just asking.
I don't like being left in the dark whenever I'm putting my ass on the line. So if you have something available, then, this whole, let's go through the tunnels kind of came in, and yeah, it turned out okay. I'm real happy with the way it turned out. But maybe if we worked together, we'd be a better functioning crew. That's all I'm saying.
So when I came in and told you how much I didn't appreciate the job plan that you had, we reworked it. Instead of saying, I've got this covered, you'd prefer that I say more. Or at some point, all. Yes? To make you comfortable with the job?
Yeah, I would trust you if you showed trust in me.
I look at Tycho. Like, okay, yeah, you just shrug. Okay. Okay. So Val is going to offer the equivalent of a ride along. That, I'll have, for what I proposed to Tycho and Bade, which either of them, speak up if you don't want to. I'm just like, all right, why don't the two of you switch responsibilities next week, and we can see how this goes. Not permanent, Tycho, just to give a taste here to Bade. Maybe Bade's ready to run her own crew.
Whatever you say, Cap.
Okay.
It's a lot more work than running the streets, Bade.
You'll find out.
So I mentioned the Russian roulette again. Anybody up for the less fatal version of that? And it's basically like you're drinking, you got like shots in front of you, but one of them's like a lot more alcoholic than the others are. You keep going till someone has to be like, I can't drink anymore, kind of thing. I don't know. I wanted to bring back in the Russian roulette, but I don't know how to do that without us like shooting guns and stuff like that. So just some sort of drinking game to say, all right, we're done. Hand shook. Let's move on, kind of situation.
It's a number of identical looking drinks, but one of them is really disgusting.
Sure. Perfect. One of those made out of the crab we got out of the tunnel.
Crab drink.
That has to be it. There's something else I wanted to get out of this though. I forgot. All right. So I guess the next day, you and Tycho and I are talking about the team.
Sure.
Okay. Like you might maybe back on the ship somewhere.
Yeah. Like in your quarters, not in a common area, right?
No, I just in my quarters. Yeah. I'm like, apparently I've gotten intestinal distress from that crab drink we had. So it's like, oh God, this is gonna be a rough day.
You had to push for Roulette, Cap. Should
I
have
did.
just let her go sulk in the corner.
What do you think of the crew? What do you think of the way that we work? Is this worth it? Should we just try to get Bria out without these guys?
Well, I think sending the Ratataki after your kid is not the best call. So we should probably be getting Bria out, so we can go clean up whatever mess she makes. As far as the team, I think Tritzy's got connections. She's connected and smart, but her brother's a problem. Not one that we can easily eliminate.
Okay.
If you can convince Bade to be on your side, she'll be all right. But if not, you're going to have to space her.
That makes sense. What about your role? Are you happy? Do you want to do something different?
We're here to save my cousin.
I mean, within the team, a different function.
Oh, turns out I've got a different function. Well, you're running the
For a
streets
week.
like a rat, like a womp
For
rat.
a week.
What? Does this sound? Is that my complaining voice, Cap? Because I'm excited about the new opportunity to ameliorate the complaints of a girl who thinks she should be running the team. No problem, Cap. Do whatever you want for a week. What about you? What do you feel about the team? Where are you worried?
This team has lost a lot of, this crew has lost a lot of its original heartbeat. Bria and Boko and Cube. I just sent off Adama. I think we need something to center us. I mean, we've got the job we want to do, this big job, but I just see everybody going in a completely different direction from each other. And so, if y'all will engage me in some craziness, I'm going to start talking to Tycho about creating a grand job for us to do that isn't a job, like, but it has all the, like, it has the effects of a job, but it's not for real, that will like bring us together somehow, make us more unified. And if and honestly, Rich, like if Tycho's like, this is really stupid, stop it, then I'll listen to you. But like, I'm like, what if we had that perfect job? You know, that one that really ties you together? But we can't wait for that to happen. It needs to happen now. You think we could fake one?
Yeah, maybe. You know, the best ties are forged in battle, Cap. You want me to go pick a fight with somebody that we can probably trash?
We need to be at home, back to back, covering each other.
Yeah.
Which scorpion do we piss off?
Pause as Tycho probably knows his answer, but Rich needs to look around.
I have an answer, actually.
Ooh, nice.
The assassin that Bria hated so much, like, let her know that we're trying to get Bria out of prison somehow, and she just wants to fuck us up. That would actually be a real, like, it would be very, very real, but it would be like me creating the very, very real. I don't know if I'm going completely off the rails.
Like maybe Val doesn't take her seriously because like, oh, it's just some assassin from 1313.
Yeah, if Bria could take, you know, if Bria stood her down, then she can't be all that bad, right?
Yep.
So maybe she wants some
all over this.
Okay.
You talking about Kernock?
Kernock.
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah.
No. Was it? Yeah,
Jovovich.
Kernock. Yeah.
Okay. I can never remember. Resident Evil girl.
Yes, Kernock.
Right. Thank you.
Just making sure that we're talking with the same person. Because if Kernock shows up on your doorstep and you say, that's not the one I meant, I'll be like, sorry.
That'd be perfect. No, I meant that other person. Okay. Yeah, no. Let's let her find out what we're doing.
Okay. I'll reach out.
Good.
So just so that I understand what you're going for, it's letting Kernock know that you're planning to break Bria out in the hopes of goading her to come after you.
Yep.
Cool. I love that.
I'm ridiculous. But that was
I don't know if it's a smart plan, but it's a fun plan.
Exactly.
So not smart. Love it.
Yeah. Tycho's on board. Rich recognizes that Bade was a better leader and actually had us like going forward and doing things that improve the tier and the gang and everything. You're just destroying stuff by bringing back old enemies. So just, you know.
I love it. Okay. Scene end.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Is there a scene someone would like to do? Otherwise, we'll move into XP and that sort of thing.
I'm good.
Cool. I figure I should do some status updates from the job. And we're on 1314, yes. So House Gilash, you'll get +1 status with them. You get +1 with the rebels, which moves you up to 0 there. They weren't too happy that you were messing with their arms dealing contacts. Think that's about it. What House Niromal will think depends on. That's for later. That's when Fritzi talks to them. We'll see how that how that works out. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, cool. Let's do crew XP. You did do a successful smuggling operation. You transported a passenger. I mean, passenger, he had to walk himself, but still. So you did do that. That's an XP. You did contend with challenges above your current station. Not directly, but the Black Sun were a threat there, so that's an XP. Did you bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one? You're currently daring and loyal, or known as daring and loyal.
Well, we didn't leave the driver behind in the tunnels whenever he collapsed.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we went through significant effort to make sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, he could have been hit by the gangs whenever we got out. We, carried him along.
Yeah. And you, Fritzi put herself in danger in order to protect Lan. That's I think that should count. And express the goals, drives, inner conflict, essential nature of the crew. I'm going to give you 2 for that one, right straight up, because we've played into that a lot this session.
Might the rebels that we hooked him up with be new clients, possibly?
Ooh. Don't
or if
think
not this time, maybe later on.
Yeah, no, not this time. It's not like you've made them your customers, which is kind of yeah. But yeah, thanks for checking that. I didn't think about it at all, and that was a good point to bring up. That gives you 5 XP, and you just needed 1 for an advance, so you have 4 left over. So again, you can take a special ability. You can take 2 of the upgrades, or you can add another cohort, which could be another gang of 20 people, or another expert. I've added Gert. I made him both independent and tenacious, which means he does good decisions and can act on his own, and he won't be deterred. But he's also principled and unreliable, which means he has morals and principles of his own, so you may not be able to get him to do anything you want him to. And since he's still working on with the pod racer thing, he's sometimes he'll be busy with that, and you can't always count on him being able to do the things you want him to do. And this is, at least at the present, when you're not yet into the whole pod racing thing. If that becomes a bigger part of what your crew is doing, then maybe that won't be relevant anymore.
Do we want to just renegades to bump up in the action rating?
I have a different idea just to pitch.
Yeah, go for it.
Is to update our training to include resolve and personal.
Oh.
And the way I see that is like, Bade's got ideas. Bade's always got ideas. So, during that week or whatever, she points out like, oh, if we had this, then people could do that kind of thing. I don't know what would make a resolve or personal training work better, but like I can imagine that being like, you should upgrade this, and Val acting on that.
Yeah. And I mean, having just having the bar like gives us a lot of opportunity for consorting and whatnot. So that's definitely makes sense. Yeah, I'm for that. Let's do that. If everyone else is good.
Everyone good with that? Cool. Then I will check off both of those. Personal XP. I will go in character keeper order. So Bade is first. Address a challenge with theft or guile. You definitely did. Do you think you did that twice?
I only think I did that once with the stealing the cred stick from Lon. Yeah.
Cool. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I would say I expressed my belief and drive in that, you know, someone had to take charge of this place once after my left, and you know, my belief is, you know, we need a leader that will prove themselves and all of that. So yeah,
Cool.
I think so.
That seems fair. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
I don't think I struggled with them. I was trying to play to my trauma, which is unstable, by just becoming violent at the least, you know, the least probable moment. But the dice worked with me, and I pulled that off. So yeah, I don't think I struggled in that regard. Yeah. So two.
I think still like just walking up to someone and punching them. I think that's at least playing into your trauma in a way that could potentially have caused a lot of trouble. So I think that should count. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Cool. So that's 3 XP for you by my count.
Okay.
So Fritzy, did you address a challenge with technical skill or influence?
I did both. Yeah, the hacking with the maps and whatnot, and then talking up our boy with the rebels.
True. So that's 2. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Yes, definitely with the conflict with our house guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least one.
Yeah, that's true. So that's let's push that 3. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
I don't think so. No, definitely not. No.
Cool. So that's 3 XP. Val, did you address a challenge with indignation or by putting others' needs ahead of your own? And I know we've talked about this. I'm not sure if it's been on sessions you've been part of, but you can change these triggers if you want to. These are the default ones from the playbook, but if you feel you want something different, then that's something you can.
Yeah, when we were getting started, and I was thinking to myself, like, you know, I'll always go back to your XP triggers to see like what it is you should respond with in a situation. I remember it, I was like, oh yeah, the indignation one. So I went through some of the other ones, and I've chosen to replace indignation with patience.
Oh, cool.
Because I felt like that's what I've been doing this entire time as a which will hopefully counteract with my vicious trauma at some point, right? Cool. So I'm hoping to have that fight occur. So let's see. Other needs in front of my own. I mean,
you carried the chauffeur. You carried the driver. I think that's.
And got, you know, woke him up, got him something to drink. Yeah, so that's one. And I think patience with Babe in the conversation of like, you know,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, well, how would you want this to be different? Well, let's give that a shot then, kind of situation.
Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
And I brought up the whole reason that we're here, which is to get Bria out.
Yep.
So I think that came up.
Yes. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
I really need to be vicious if I want to get that to happen. So I'll have to be on the lookout for those kinds of things. So 3.
You could look, I mean, if you feel like vicious doesn't fit, you could switch it out for something different.
I'll take a look. Thank you.
Cool. But I think that puts you at 3 XP.
Yeah.
So that could be personal or any of the abilities. Tycho, did you address a challenge with charm or recklessness?
I would say it was either reckless or hopefully an attempt at charm by approaching the mole men without hedging bets or scoping out the situation. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that that seems fair. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I would say so during the discussion with Val.
Okay. Talked about our
true.
background. Okay, I
Mhm.
could see that. There's definitely hints there.
You definitely pushed for to break Bria out, right? I'm here to break Bria out.
Yeah, that's very,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or trauma?
Trauma is cold, and I feel like the way he described the rest of the crew to Val probably was pretty cold.
Yeah, that seems fair. That's 3 XP for you.
Yep.
Cool. Let's do some stars and wishes off camera.
Okay, here we go. I'll stop it by internet.